area. I don't come again. They say I don't start. Today supposed to be our Independence Day. And I'm supposed to put on green and white. But I don't feel wear black, green and white. I wear black. The reason why I wear black, una go know. Una go listen to our comrade, Barrister Bar.Paul Ogbonna. Make he analyze the reason why we wear black. Because we are supposed to be mourning, not celebrating. Listen to her.
Bar.Paul Ogbonna, the legal practitioner and the national coordinator, Civil Rights Council. I was a bit embarrassed. Scandalized. And I felt cheated when I saw different state departments and government at all levels, including the federal government, announcing the Independence Day celebration in media platforms. First and foremost, I would have thought that the government of the day would either scrap today, the recognition of today as Independence Day, or altogether allow it to go unnoticed, but ensure that Nigerians are not stopped from doing their official functions. But to reduce today as Independence Day celebration shows insensitivity, the height of corruption, the lack of progressive mindset, the poverty of ideas, and idiocy of the Nigerian ruling class. How do you explain that you hasten the post-colonial state from the British with a functional railway system geared to service the industrial needs of Europe? How do you expect that you inherited a system where you had different ports, seaports, large and small ones, all geared to bring goods and to take goods to service the industrial needs of Europe and North America? How do you reconcile, how do you understand that there were airports where you could take off from Nigeria, in about 6 hours you'll be in London? How do you expect that the fact that there is Nigerian railways, that there is Nigerian airways, that Nigerian shipping line, that there was Nigerian civil service, among other institutions of the state? And as of today, nobody is talking about Nigerian shipping lines. As of today, Nigerian airways has gone moribund much more than 30 years ago. Yet there are airways, Nigerian airways staff being paid salary every month. How do you understand that there are that until recently, and in fact across the country, there is hardly any train? Yet the Nigerian railways, civil servants are sitting there receiving pay every day. How do you understand that the rail which transported coal, cattle from the north, human and other commercial activities are not in existence? Yet coal is being moved from the coal mines in Enugu to God knows where. In admiration of the points earlier made, it is unfortunate, painful, and worrisome that Nigeria continues and progressively degenerated on the path of corruption, monumental and embarrassing corruption, which have both local and international implications. First, Nigerians are no longer respected globally. It is so serious that an average Nigerian is perceived as a thief in the international community. It is much more worrisome that even the Nigerian currency that used to be the most valued across West Africa region is the least and the weakest, with zero purchasing value. In fact, it has gotten to the point that even the Nigerian ruling class that used to pack or steal or reconcile or retire state budgets and keep the monies in votes in their houses, such is useless for them now. For every day, the currency loses value and its purchasing power goes to nothing. So keeping them or storing them in the house is completely useless. Is that bad? That even the corruption, which is the lifewire of the Nigerian ruling class, cannot even be successfully practiced by the Nigerian ruling class. That contradiction is there in public space. Going ahead, we have gotten to a point in Nigeria that Nigerians pay for jobs, that a Nigerian graduate who has left a Nigerian university has to pay for a job space. That people who want to serve the nation have to lobby political class with money to be given political appointments. How do you hope to fight corruption with that? Are you suggesting that a man who has paid for a job place to a person who has gotten a political position via monetary inducement will not recover the capital? Is that what you are saying? And how do you hope you recover the capital if not from the public? We cannot run a police force. You need to activate the police to work by paying the police. I mean, by the police want to carry out an arrest, you have to charter a vehicle for the police to carry out that arrest. And it is obvious and clear. We used to accuse the police of being corrupt, but the clear fact is that the vehicle is not there. The vehicle is not there for the police. So if you come to a police station and report a case, and the police need to effect arrest, and they tell you they don't have a vehicle, you will see that there's no vehicle in the station, or the vehicle in the station is broken down, or that the vehicle doesn't have fuel. Even when Nigerians complain that the police is extorting them, the police is extorting you to fuel the operational vehicles, to enable them be on the road. And of course, if they extort you to do that, because there's no accountability, it is not only exclusive to the police, to all state institutions. In fact, most of the Nigerian state institutions or state departments, functional state departments, are in rented apartments where government pay rent. That if you go to some courts in the country, that courts are being operated in rented apartments. Meanwhile, the colonial authorities built court structures, customary court and high courts across the country. Yet the post-colonial government is operating rent because there is a deal between the landlord and the government. That is the reality. So I do not even think that the government understands the full meaning and implication of corruption in Nigeria. Corruption in Nigeria has gone beyond the giving and taking of money. It is completely the defacement of societal moral values, the somersault, the ruination of the moral values. In fact, it is the existence of a society without moral standards, without value systems, that you cannot measure. There is no input and output cannot be measured. There is no standard conduct or behavior. Laws merely exist on paper. There's no enforcement. And it is a fact. So every Nigerian practically lives on his own. You build your house, you find a way and get electricity into it, you dig a borehole, of course you evacuate your sewage, you pay the vigilante to give you security. That to travel from Port Harcourt to Abuja, you have to move across it. You are wearing military uniform. I mean, a man was shot simply because he's wearing military or police uniform, as at the time he was shot. That if he was not wearing that uniform, nobody would have recognized it. So it is a random killing of security men simply because all these are caused by politicians. We call them unknown gunmen. That in the north, that people wear bombs and go to destroy mosques and churches, further intensifying intertribal, interethnic, and interreligious tensions. And every government that comes into power seems to continue from where the other has continued, as if insecurity in the country is a way of life. People serving in government have been accused, touched, pointed at for being part and parcel of insecurity. As if when local and foreign media, yes, such people have been in government. They have continued business as usual. That a country that borrowed money to other countries, a country that trained the teachers and engineers of other countries, are today that their national economy is based on borrowing. That we have a country that has a borrowing plan without a production plan. That about textile mill is died. That the Kaduna textile mill is dead. That the Pachita sugar company is dead. That the Nigerian rope company is dead. That the Nigerian bank company is dead. That the Nigerian airways is dead. That the Nigerian shipping line is dead. That the Delta Steel Mill is dead. That Port Harcourt flour mill company is dead. That all companies are dead. And our leaders come preaching to us that IMF and World Bank told them that government is not good in business. Yet the same government operates NNPC and the Central Bank of Nigeria, which is the engine room of all businesses in Nigeria. If the ideas of IMF and World Bank is the best, why don't we privatize the presidency? Yes, if privatization, handing over to private individuals is the best, then we privatize the presidency, we privatize the Central Bank of Nigeria. So the contradiction is enormous, and it's overwhelming, and it's overbearing, and the lies, the insincerity, and the lack of capacity, lack of patriotism and initiative of those in government It's clear. So as I said, the country is in a complete and a total state of crisis. Life and protection of life and property is the primary role of government. As I put to you, life and property are the most vulnerable. I repeat, the most vulnerable. From tomorrow, people start, the media will start telling us of the number of people that died today in Independence Day celebration. There's accusation and counter accusations of corruption in government involving prison officials, officials of EFCC, involving the police, involving the presidency, involving practically every state department. State budgets are retired and individuals go away with the funds. The biggest aspiration of a Nigerian child is to be a politician. How do you ask a child in the kindergarten and say, I want to be a local government chairman? I want to be a governor. I want to be a minister. Being a minister, being a governor, being a commissioner, is that a career? Simply because it has become the most lucrative part of national life. Politics has become an industry and in fact a means of production. A winner takes it all syndrome. Politicians win elections and they start from before they are sworn in talking about the next election. As of right, people make claim that they own states and they own state treasuries. People fight governors, sitting governors, constitutionally elected, no matter the crooked circumstances that led to them coming to power, and begin to make claims. And Nigerians give vent to it, they support them. As a matter of fact, that the man is entitled to his claim. So as far as I'm concerned, this is more of mourning than celebration. Because in the days, in the 60s, possibly in the 70s, when we celebrated independence, there was an attitude of hope. There was a disposition that we will do better. There was a disposition that today, tomorrow will be better. But we have gotten to the height of it. It can't get worse than this. And as I have said in all platforms where I have spoken, that it is the responsibility of the Nigerian people to take back their country, to reconcile their country, to build their country. China was built by the Chinese. The United States of America was built by the United States citizens. The same is applicable to Britain and the state of Israel were founded in front of every one of us by the people of Israel. Found their way and built a life in the desert. Dubai was constructed by men in the lifetimes of some men. So I don't understand. So Nigerians being lethargic, Nigerians going about their duties, merely complaining and bearing the brunt of bad leadership and thinking that a God somewhere will do it for them. I guarantee them God will not do it for them. In fact, it's not part of the reason why Jesus died. Absolutely not. Because if God didn't do it for the Americans, they did it for themselves, the British, for the Irish. Even the Irish, he couldn't do it for us because he's not an impartial God. And it would be irresponsible of God to act that way. So it is Nigerians who will build Nigeria. We can choose to waste our time, to tell ourselves lies, to pretend we are worshiping God when we are making business and industry out of and the living out of the word and the death of Christ. That is mere self-deception. But let us be assured that the duty of building Nigeria, redeeming it from the captive, destructive, oppressive, corrupt, and banditry ruling class is the responsibility of all Nigerians. We can pay the price in blood, we can pay it in peace, depending on our approach. But all through history, every oppressed people have reason to question the oppression. And they have gone about it peacefully or violently. But the end result is that whenever there is a conflict between the owners of the land and invaders, history has shown that the owners of the land, when they persevere, they have won. South Africa is a good example. The departure of the colonial authorities in Africa is another example. And I can go on really another example. Nigerians should rise up now with a battle cry to redeem their country. Today and not tomorrow. For us to waste time or to prevaricate in this thing is for us to further compromise our lives and our future. The time is now. We must rise up now and not tomorrow morning. And the vigilante extort Nigerian far beyond the Nigerian police we accused of corruption. And the vigilante engaged in a judicial execution of Nigerians outside the law. And nobody queries them. That even the political class rely on the vigilante to protect themselves, and much more than that, to protect the community. The community rely on them to protect them. And even the police often call the vigilante to protect them and their police infrastructure in times of crisis. So we have disenabled the state institution. The political class in their morbid quest for power has ruined the entire Nigerian state structure. The state is weak, and there are individuals that are far more stronger than the state in Nigeria. So in Nigerian Africa, there are powerful individuals and very weak institutions. And for those of us who are legal practitioners who deal with state institutions on daily basis, because as a legal practitioner, you deal with state institutions, human rights, rule of law, contesting for rights, the enforcement of the law has to revolve around the state. Primarily, so the business of a lawyer revolves around the state. You see the weakness of state institutions on daily basis. The compromise is enormous. How do you answer the question that arms are being used in the depth of the Niger Delta, in the deep recesses of the southeast, sophisticated weapons? Yet nobody knows how these arms cross our borders. Borders are porous. Who do you blame for it? Political leadership. So the Nigerian political leadership is banditry in character. Very banditry in character, enormously corrupt, and totally useless to the Nigerian people. Every Nigerian lives as an individual and stands on his own as a person. Every Nigerian lives as an individual, provides himself with all he requires. The semblance of state power and state authority is seen when convoys of state officials are passing on the streets. When neatly dressed police officials are attached to to the buildings of public offices. And what is more, when they try to enforce their desire, their vaunted desire for political offices, after the elections, everything goes underground, and the Nigerian people are left on their own. So, with all this, with this chaotic state, with the state of comatose, non-recognition, lack of respect of Nigeria locally and internationally, how then do you expect me as a Nigerian? The future is bleak. The future is completely and totally dark. What are we celebrating? Are we celebrating the failure of Nigerian Airways? Are we celebrating that there is no railway line conveying Nigerians across the country? Are we celebrating that in Nigeria, mad people litter our streets, posing a threat to the citizens, and are abused and giving birth to children who go mad themselves and give birth to some other children? A generation of mad people on the streets of Nigeria being impregnated by Nigerians, constituting nuisance? Or is it the fact that there are lamagiris in Calabar and in Kano, and people celebrate and sustain a system where men impregnate women to manufacture, to produce children, to satisfy their pleasure, and the state has no hand in it, which is formed as a recruiting ground for militant groups? Are you celebrating that police officers are executed for the simple reason that they volunteer to serve their nation, or that the soldier who is in a security post was killed by the militia and is politicized? What are we celebrating? That the Naira has no purchasing power. That the Naira has no purchasing value. That is degenerating into a mere paper. When the state institutions give statistics, governors and presidents give statistics, these statistics exist only in their head. It has not translated absolutely to nothing to reality. What are you talking about? Is it the corruption in the universities? Is it in fact the universities are underfunded? Is it in fact that it's a mere status symbol? I graduated from a university. The fact that I'm a graduate has become a common knowledge. Which scandal do you talk about? Which one do you leave? Is it the outright corruption, stealing and retirement of state funds from state individuals? Or is it the fact that politicians boast in public space that they solely produce the governor, senators, House of Reps, and every other thing in the state, and by so doing they are entitled as of right to own up the state as a matter of power, thereby obstructing the civil space and reducing social critics and activists to bench warmers and mere talkers? So is it the fact that that Nigeria is not into any form of production? It's a rental capitalist state that is busy reeling out tax to citizens who are unproductive? Is it the fact that Nigerians are hungry? Or the fact that part and parcel of Nigerian economy is what we call Yahoo Yahoo, prostitution, and external remittances? Of course, if there's no money coming from external remittances from Nigerian working in Europe, or if the Nigerian youth do not liquidate funds in Europe and North America through what we call the Yahoo system, or our girls do not go into prostitution in Europe and North America to send them money, yet this economy will collapse. The Nigerian oil industry or the Nigerian oil having been used to take a loan upfront by the Nigerian ruling class. Loans that are everly being expanded and without being paid, and nobody is interested in paying it. And we can only pay our loan when we become productive and earn resources. Then we can pay. So a ruling class that borrows money to buy cars, that borrows money to lodge in hotels, that borrows money to sleep with prostitutes, that borrows money to go for foreign trips, that borrows money to pay salary to itself and its civil service. Such a ruling class is destructive. And all through history, destructive ruling classes have encountered or run into crisis with the citizens. And as I said, any war between the owners of land and invaders have always lost. So it is for the Nigerian people to take stock of their lives and examine the dynamic forces that rule themselves and take initiative. It is not for them to expect that Europe or North America will come, because Europe and North America not only have their own people are in demand. And let the Nigerians not forget that for every right enjoyed by Europe and North America, they want it. And in their case, they want it in blood. And therefore, expecting here that the ruling class will concede to you by mere action or by praying on Sundays, it is stupid and unthinkable. After all, the ruling class are saying the same prayer. If you are praying for whoever to die, the person is praying for himself to live. And if God is merciful and forgiving and loving, he will extend his forgiveness to both the oppressor and the oppressor. It's as simple as that, except it become partial. And if the God become partial, it becomes useless. So it is not a matter of God, it is a matter of ourselves. A man woke up in the Niger Delta and said our people are being surcharged and challenged the multinationals in the Delta, rallying his people, the battle for liberation. And that is what happened and the people woke up. And the government of the Federation recognized it. The Delta crisis is still an ongoing question. So when Nigerians pretend that the police, the army, the DSS is a challenge or a problem to them rising up, it's not true. All these are Nigerians. These people have not posed any threat to the Nigerian people. After all, they too are suffering far more than the average Nigerians outside of official working places. After all, we have working places and we have private lives. It is for the Nigerian people to answer their question. And as I said before, the Europeans, our ancestors answered the question when they found out that the invaders, the colonialists need to leave. How we manage our lives after the colonialists left is a different thing, and that is why we are the way we are. But the Americans told the colonialists to leave, the British told the colonialists to leave, the Israelis told the colonialists to leave at different points in time in their history. It is therefore for us to wake up to the call to redeem our country, to redeem ourselves, and to seek and to build a country after our own self-image. To think, to imagine that mere time will heal the cancer or the malignant tumor. No, the tumor gets worse with time. After it's on a malignant train, the cancer gets worse with time because it's already cancerous. The cells are already cancerous. And therefore, nobody leaves his privileges to you simply because you are complaining or you are crying. It is for you now to evoke forces that will make the person compromise or to see reasons with you. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. If not, yesterday it will be that Buhari is a Fulani, you are fighting the Fulani and the Hausa. Today it will be that you are fighting the Yoruba. Tomorrow it could even be that you are fighting the people of the Niger Delta, as it was yesterday. And next tomorrow it will be you are fighting the Igbos. So we end up ascribing it to fighting ourselves, the Ogonis, the Birom, the Gbera people. We are fighting the Kakwagom people, the people of Ogoja, Abakaliki man. That is why you are fighting. It has nothing to do with an individual. It has something to do with the collective. And all of us are here. History is watching. The earlier Nigerians rise to this occasion, the better for each and every one of us. But to think that the problem will come to be or that it will die simply because you wished or desired it to die is not possible. It has never happened in history and it's not historical. And Nigeria is not going to be an exception. We must answer our questions, just like every other people in history answered their questions. The Nigerian ruling class is determined to sustain their classroom to the extent that it's to their interest. And Nigerian people must be able to tell them, no, we cannot take it any longer. Waiting for time will exacerbate the circumstances and not heal it. Time does not heal wounds merely on its own. It heals it by the action of men. And that is history.